Hey, what's up, guys? Yao4772 here, coming to you guys with a very special deck tech of mine. Me and my friend pretty much built this deck about 2 weeks ago. I've been tweaking it to my liking. I think it's pretty perfect right now. I think it's really perfect right now. There's not much else I can do after all this testing. And considering what top rated at Star City Vegas, I think this deck's gonna be pretty good considering that blue black won it all, and this deck has a pretty good matchup against control. All right, so as you guys can tell by the title, it is Birthing Pod. It's I call it Quad Pod because it's 4-color pod, and quad rhymes with pod, so that was my kind of theory behind the naming. And then so the other non-creature spell in here are 2 Mimic Bats. This card is pretty ridiculous. This card wrecks control by itself, and they can't really ever take care of your threats. You're just like, you kill your threat, okay, just put it under that, and then it just gets ridiculous. As for 1-drops, I've got 4 Birds of Paradise. You're running a 4-color deck, so you really need the mana fixing. I cannot tell you how much this guy fixes my mana. And then if I could run 6, I would run 6 Birds of Paradise, but unfortunately I can't. So I run 2 Absence Programs. This guy is just pretty insane. He's a 1/1. He's like Llanowar Elves, except he taps for white mana, which is good because there's a lot of white intensive cards in this deck. So for 2-drops, let's go ahead and just grab the 2-drops here. I run probably one of the best 2-drops. I think, like, definitely not the best. There's the best is here. 2 Viridian Emissaries, or 3 Viridian Emissaries is what I'm saying. When he dies, he fixes your mana, which is also super important for this deck, and you get a pot into like a 3-drop. It's really, yeah, it's just this guy's just really good. He beats face if you can't really take care of him. I've actually killed somebody with like 2 Viridian Emissaries, which is pretty insane. And then this is what I consider to be the best 2-drop in Center right now. 2 Phantasmal Images. This card, there's a reason why this card is like 15 bucks. I don't know, 12 bucks. It's probably because, I mean, like, freaking Sun Titan interactions with this card is insane. This card automatically jumps you from a 2-drop to like a 6-drop for pod, which is insane. And pod just pretty much utilizes Phantasmal Image, I think, better than most other decks. And then the last 2-drop, last but not least, is a Miser Spellskite. He's just helpful when you need it. Getting him under pod makes it so, or not pod, vat makes it so your vat never dies. That's pretty much it. Yeah, he's just really good. He's also good at redirecting stuff, pretty much. Alright, so for 3-drops, I've got 1 Scout Bruinator. This guy's pretty self-explanatory in pod. You're pitching a lot of your creatures, so you can recur him a lot of the times. And you can pod into him as a 3-drop against like aggro or something. They just have a really tough time dealing with this guy. Also against what is it, Wolfrun? Like Wolfrun, if they don't have a beast within, they're boned. They're boned against this guy. I want a Blade Splicer. You can't really not run a Blade Splicer. She's pretty good. 3 first strike golem gives you 2 blockers, pretty much. That's pretty important. Deceiver Exarch, it's really nice to go from Viridian Emissary, pod, get a land, into Deceiver Exarch, untap your pod it, get a Solemn Simulacrum, so it's like a double rampant growth in 1 turn. And yeah, he just untaps. You can't really fake people out with combos anymore, but he's still a really good card. 1 Fiend Hunter. This guy and exiles one of your opponent's threats. You can recur him with Sun Titan. It's pretty much like an O-Ring, kinda, for creatures. And he's just really good. And then last but not least, the last 3-drop is a Glissa the Trader. She recurs pretty much all your artifacts. People don't realize that when any creature your opponent controls is put into the graveyard, you get return an artifact from your graveyard to your hand. Instead of whenever a creature dies, because from Glissa, you get to return one, so it just makes it a lot better. And First Strike Death Touch just really opens up the control matchup. Alright, so for 4-drops, I also have 5 4-drops. 2 Phyrexian Metamorphs. I used to run a Molten Tail Massacre. Really underperformed. Just did not like him. So I took him out, put him in another Metamorph, and he's been doing really well. I think clone ability is just so strong nowadays. It's just, you can't not have a Phyrexian Metamorph. Or any kind of clone card. 1 Solemn Simulacrum, pretty self-explanatory. This card is just card advantage engine here. Comes in, you get a land, dies, draw a card. It's like, comes in, get a land, pot it away, draw a card, get a 6-side, blow up another land. Like, it's ridiculous. Skin Render, for those aggro decks, -3, -3, really good black card, for 4 mana, and he trades pretty well with Titans. Last but not least, I've got 1 Entomber Exarch. This guy is super versatile in that he can pretty much duress your opponent if they're playing like control decks, which is really good. Or he could just return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand, so you just like reuse a creature. So you're getting the most value out of your creatures in this deck. 5-drops, I've got 4 5-drops. 2 pretty self-explanatory. Acidic Slime blows up a land. It can color screw your opponent if they're lacking a color, or they don't have one of a certain color. Destroys artifacts, enchantments, or lands. Yeah, so this guy's just really good, and he's a 2/2 Death Touch, so he's good. An Archon of Justice. This guy, when he dies, he's a 4/4 beater, flyer beater, and then when he dies, he just exiles a card, which is any card, which is really good. Especially since I can show you what I pop him into, and then a Razor Hippogriff. This guy gains you life. This is the process of starting to gain you life. Returns an artifact. You can just go Solemn Hippogriff, gain 4 life, and card advantage. So 6-drops. I've got 3 6-drops. 1 Wormcoil Engine, self-explanatory, gains you life. 1 Sun Titan, self-explanatory, Phantasmal Image combo, Recursive Mimic Vat, lots of stuff like that. And then 1 Reaper from the Abyss. This is what I was talking about with the Archon. Like, you could pot into Archon, pot away Archon, exile one of their permanents, and then get a Reaper out since your Archon died, because you potted it away. Reaper's ability, Morbid ability, activates at the end of your turn, and you can just kill one of their creatures. But be really careful because you don't want to get this guy out unless you can kill one of your opponent's creatures, because it's not a May ability, so you have to do it. You have to kill one of your creatures. Alright, so for 7-drops, I've got the 2 Predators. I mean, these are really the only good 7-drops in Standard right now. So, Shieldred, really good against the blue-black control deck. Just Swamp Walk just gets there. And then Elesh Norn, good against everything else. -2/-2 is just freaking amazing. And just buffs your creatures and just freaking amazing. Alright, so for lands, You would think I get colored or mana screwed often, but I don't. I don't know why. I think I just found the correct land base. 4 Razorwitch Thickets. It's fast land that allows for turn 1 birds. 3 Highland Harbors. 3 Woodland Cemeteries. 2 Isolated Chapels. And you need at least 2 of any basic if you're trying to build this deck. At least 2 of any basic. 5 Forests, because it's green heavy. Super green heavy. 2 Plains. 2 Swamps. And 2 Islands. So 23 lands total. It's been working really well for me. And I'll go into sideboard. I think I've pretty much got the sideboard down pat. 2-day judgments against township decks, against opposing pod decks, against control decks, maybe? No, not control decks. O-Rank, control decks. Trinket Mage with the package is my favorite. This is my favorite part of the sideboard. Trinket Mage fetching either Sylvok Lifestaff against aggro, or Nile Spellbomb against control, against like Snapcaster decks. So I think that's pretty spicy. And you're running, like, unlike the Bant Pod decks, you're running black, so you can cantrip off of this, which is really nice. These are supposed to be Garruk Relentless. These come in place of, sometimes you do want to set out your pods. It may sound crazy, but you do want to set out your pods or your Mimic Bats because people are going to be running like Ancient Grudges. So you bring in Garruk Relentless in place of those. 1 Sylvok Replica, Artifacts, Enchantments, pretty self-explanatory. Thrown around cards. Master Thief against artifact decks like Wormcoil Engine, seeing a lot of play. You can just control the Wormcoil Engine. Sword decks, especially, very good. There's a lot of he's really good against a lot of decks. Tree of Redemption for aggro, like mono red mostly. A Thrun for blue-black control since they don't run Phantasmal Images. Hellvenge Scavenger, aggro. And a Miser Naturalize. I don't know, artifact opposing pod decks. And yep, pretty much that's what he comes in for. Maybe red deck, I don't know. Shrine is pretty good. I don't know. I don't think you really need for red though. And then I've got tokens. So, rate, comment, subscribe, guys. Let me know what you guys think of this deck. I think it's pretty unique, and I've had a lot of fun playing it. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and peace. I'll post a trade binder up as soon as this one gets uploaded. Alright, later.